Hey guys, I received an anonymous question. So, now I'm going to answer it while I smoke a cigarette. Um, Although I suppose it wasn't necessarily an anonymous question so much as a request for a video, hence my answering it in a video and not in the context of an anonymous question. Alright, now the subject today is religion and the afterlife, which are two really interesting things. Religion, because it has played such an incredibly major role in culture and society and the development of civilization as a whole. The Industrial Revolution probably even had some religious aspects to it. Um, it's strange. I thought I just heard somebody knocking on my door. Um, but oh yeah, I do, and it's my cat. Man, I'm trying to remember what I'd say. Yeah, I mean, even um, religion plays a role to this day in things like politics. We talk about the separation of church and state. When I mean, really, if you look on a dollar bill, there's a Latin in it or on it. You may think the only references to God on a dollar bill are where in huge fucking letters it says "In God We Trust," which I think is a little ridiculous. But it's actually also mentioned in the Latin on the left. I believe above and below the symbol of the Illuminati, as a matter of fact, and the Latin there means the top translates into the New World Order, that being currency, and the bottom translates into our undertakings have been favored by God. So, we are changing the world all because God is letting us, and I think that's kind of silly. So, religion definitely has an enormous role in you know things, and the afterlife is a topic that is absolutely fascinating, both for religious reasons, for philosophical reasons, for pure question, no inquiry. Um, I have a friend, and he's just brilliant. Um, One of the very few males that I can sit down with and just talk to for hours. He's fascinating, and he told me the other night. We just started like getting really close recently, but he told me the other night that he thinks about suicide to this day on a regular basis. And he's not even depressed. He says it's a matter of curiosity, wondering what's on the other side, and that this level of curiosity is enough to compel him to actually want to kill himself, just out of the sheer curiosity of it, just out of the sense of amazement and wonder and question about what's on the other side. So first, I'm going to talk about religion. Religion, like I already said, it plays a major role. I think for the most part is largely misunderstood, or has been over time distorted, because religion itself, people, the human, a human, man is a weak creature. He needs something bigger than himself, a purpose to work towards, somewhere to put his faith, which is why often people will place so much faith in like friends and family. But these are tangible things. These are things that can die. When you put your faith in a God, you have something bigger than yourself. You have a parent. You have something to worship, something to respect, something to listen to. You have a constant direction to be going in, and that kind of stability is important in any kind of lifestyle. Um, so I think it is important to have faith in something. Um, and it's hard to talk about religion because I have more information and experience with some, significantly more than others. Um, but I think that there is something that can be learned from every religion. Buddhism, for example, taught me the idea that desire is poison, from their term dukkha, which means, everything in the world negative, resentment, disdain, depression, anxiety, anything negative at all comes from expectation and desire. So from that, we can learn that desire is poison, and we can move forward in our lives with that information, with that fact, with this newfound idea that is important and that is useful, and that we can apply every day without having to be Buddhists. I mean, Christianity teaches you to, love thy neighbor. The Ten Commandments are, I think, for the most part, pretty good things. If you look at the seven cardinal sins in Catholicism, and they actually also apply in Christianity, same ones, probably in several other religions too. Oh man, I don't know how many I can name offhand, so I'm actually not even gonna try. But if you look those up, never mind, I'm gonna sort of name some. Things like sloth and lust and wrath. These are things, human vices that are borderline natural, but are important to try to keep at bay and try to keep under control. And that's rational thought that would be able to give you the kind of self-awareness necessary to stay away from these, I don't know, instinctive poisons almost, which Christianity and Catholicism say right off the bat, these are 7 things that you should avoid. And with that direction, you don't have to stop and think, man, what are some feelings that I get sometimes that ultimately are kind of bad in the long run? Instead, the religion just tells you, it is this, so avoid it, which is a useful thing. So I do think that religion is important. I have a friend who was brought up Christian. He no longer, has a faith in a God, but he is one of the most well-adjusted people I know. Always friendly, always polite, well-dressed, always seems very happy. And personally, I attribute a lot of it to his upbringing. I suppose I don't know that for sure, but I think he attributes some of it to that too. Because growing up as part of a congregation, as part of a community, you're socialized really well during your adolescence, and you, develop good people skills, aside from the direction that the religion itself gives you, this sense of guidance, this sense of hope, a sense of structure. That's where it gets tricky, the structure. Immortal Technique put it best: God is not a religion, but a spiritual bond, and Jesus is the most quoted prophet in the Quran. And he's saying 2 things there that are really important. First, that God is not religion, but a spiritual bond. Religion is something structured, whereas God, as a spiritual bond, is something mystic. And this sense of mysticism, if you take something that's essentially magical and you provide it structure and rules, and you say, okay, you believe this is how you live, this is what you do, this is how you think, this is who you are, you take away greatly from that relationship with God by giving the relationship structure, which essentially defeats the purpose of religion. But, I guess probably a lot of people disagree. I think that organized religion is a silly thing. And then the other thing, Jesus is the most quoted prophet in the Quran, is also important because it's always important to recognize other religions. Say you're Christian, you still need to be able to recognize, Taoism and Buddhism and, Judaism, anything, Islam. I don't think any one religion is right or wrong. I think every religion, and I do mean every, has something to teach, in the same sense that you can learn something from every person. So yeah, those are my ideas on religion there. It's an important thing. I think it can often also be taken way too far and brought to points of war and violence and hatred, which is not what any religion preaches directly, but can often be read into differently. By the poisoned mind of man. So, that all sucks and stuff. Now, the afterlife. The afterlife is a fascinating thing for so many reasons, whether we rot in the ground or we go to hell or we embrace knowledge and slip into nirvana, ultimate euphoria, ultimate understanding, whether we go to a heaven, whether, anything. It doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter because by focusing on the afterlife, by saying that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, then you are looking to the end of the tunnel, and you don't see everything on the walls of the tunnel. You don't see the floor of the tunnel because you're too focused on the light at the end. People will undergo any kind of torture, any kind of, mistreating at all, as long as they believe that there is something waiting for them on the other side, as long as they have their eyes set ahead to a bright future of pearly gates and of happiness or of understanding or of euphoria or of escape from suffering. As long as you look to that, then the present doesn't suck quite so much. But I mean, it's something that we're all gonna find out one day anyway. So to focus on that now is to deny the present. To focus on the afterlife is to deny life. Because the light at the end of the tunnel. You focus on that, you're not going to see your surroundings. So I think it's something that's interesting to contemplate, but it's important not to dwell on it necessarily. Oh man, but yeah, the afterlife really could be full of just about anything. And I suppose that's all I have to say for now. So happy Wednesday, everybody.